From the west side of Chicago, it's the Greg Struss Show. This is Scotty-Joe Vegas inviting you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes as we discuss a dog day summer full of Taboo Topics. And now, Cicero's best friend, Gregory Struss.
Thank you, Scotty-Joe Vegas.
Scotty-Joe Vegas. Scotty-Joe Vegas.
And welcome back to the Greg Struss Show, coming to you from the west side of Chicago and broadcasting coast to coast on a channel that you never see. But you know, that may be a good thing because nothing in life is free, as we prove every single week on this program. Scotty-Joe Vegas, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Struss man. Glad to see you. Glad to see Elmhurst. Great to be here.
I remember on not too many shows back how you used to, you said something about we came from Elmhurst's undercarriage or the underbelly of her carriage, or
talking about Elmhurst and her undercarriage.
Okay, what exactly is that?
Well, that's like the
Is
city
it the political system in Elmhurst?
I would say more of like the dirty deeds. I like that shot. Look at there, right there.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yes, like the tickle, the dingleberries picked off of romance. When your kids get married out there, make sure that you go to the bathroom at the filling station for a couple months, because that's what keeps romance going. And clean up down there and cut the yard every once in a while. With the washcloth.
With the washcloth. Okay. Anyway, it's good to have you here. Well, there's been a brouhaha over the soda tax that was supposed to go into effect in Crook County, on July 1st. Now, I say a brouhaha with a pun intended, no pun intended, because it also is unsweetened tea. So it's a brouhaha.
Not good
so
for you.
a local judge placed a hold, or what is it called in legal terms when there's a hold? It is I forget what it's called, but they placed a hold on the tax.
Continuous.
No, it's a legal term, and I can't think of it. So we're going to talk layman's terms because we're not lawyers here. So anyway, we
are laymen.
They placed a hold on this tax because a retail organization filed a lawsuit claiming that it's unconstitutional and it's very vague, kind of like my love life. But that said, President Perwinkle, do you know Terry Perwinkle? Is it Terry Perwinkle? She's the president of Crook County.
Okay.
She's concerned because now there's going to be a $250 million shortage in the budget, because that $250 million from this 1 cent per ounce tax was supposed to go for needed programs. Mm-hmm. You know what I suggest? I suggest that Ms. Perwinkle takes a pay cut and shuts her mouth. What do you think?
I think that they should make Chicago their own subsidiary and make the state of Illinois do their own budget, and Chicago should have their own budget. That's it. Good night.
So you think that Chicago should be its own entity outside of the state?
Correct.
And you know what? They act that way anyway.
Yes.
So also on July 1st, it's my understanding that minimum wage went up to like $10 an hour. All right, so everybody's happy about that. But you know what happens? Who's going to be paying for that?
You're out of your taxes. You're going to get taxed more.
No. When we go to Illinois Mobile Home Supply and need to buy a toilet for our RV, what happens to it? It goes up. Why? Because Illinois Mobile Home Supply has people that they have to pay now.
Technically, it goes down because of Amazon and eBay. But hey, that's a whole different story.
It
retail's dead, buddy.
Retail's
dead.
It goes down when you flush, too.
Shop,
but that's
please.
a whole different story. Shop, please.
Shop, please, Bobby. Retail's dead. Go ahead. We don't understand it. We won't. And our forefathers, they know, or the kids, they'll all work it out. And when they, I'm sorry.
But you know what? We're living like in this time now where it's like, well, just deal with it. Like if we all got to deal with it. You know, you got to deal with family or whatever's going on in the system.
You know, you had me until you said that.
No. I'm using it as example that
yes.
Anybody dealing with a difficult parent.
They have to deal with us.
Well, they have to, yeah. Unless
you've
completely removed yourself from the situation.
Well, look at there. I look a little plump.
Oh, you look great.
I know.
Let's see the lining.
Well, hang on.
It's a Merv Griffin lining.
Look at that.
Ooh, look at that. That's nice. All right.
That's right, baby. Whoa. I lost
So anyway,
collar.
the voice of Kermit the Frog has been replaced after 27 years. And nobody's talking
Wasn't
about
that
why
Jim
that
Henson
happened.
that really first did it?
I think he was the first one, but he passed away. So I think this is the gentleman that did it after Mr. Henson passed away.
And who was that?
I don't have his
We
name.
don't have a research department, so we'll get back on that.
So anyway, he's out after 27 years, but nobody's talking about why he had to leave. And I'm thinking maybe he tickled Elmo. But that's a whole different story. You remember the Tickle Me Elmo guy?
Yes,
he got
I do. Yes,
caught,
I do.
like tickling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was playing. Allegedly rumored the Tickle Me Elmo guy a couple years ago was having inappropriate relations with, I believe, with children. Okay, allegedly.
Let's
He
first,
was never proven guilty on it, by the way.
Bobby, I'm gonna need a shot of this one.
Okay, let's go ahead.
But Bobby, another one. I want my close up. When you have your hand up a puppet's rear end, where are you going from there? Back to you, Greg.
That's a good point.
I mean, naughty.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is how people box. All right.
This is how the death give head on one of the Elmhurst corners.
Okay.
Don't sue me.
He just did one of these. I didn't know. Like Bob's doing it by the camera. I'm like, wow, everybody's in on it now. So Bill Cosby is going to be retried in several months. So he's kind of reshuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. I think he's done. They always say, like, during a retrial that it's not in the defense's, it is never in the defense's corner or the defense's side.
He'll get away with it.
You think so?
Yep.
Yeah, and he was talking about going out and giving speeches or having town hall meetings on how to avoid being
And that's how he's
prosecuted for rape and
That's how he's going to get out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand what's going on here. You know what I
The
mean?
world's
It's like,
going to hell.
I'm starting to think that the way I was raised was a fraud. Because you know what? I don't meet very many honest people. I don't meet very many people that...
Shot, please, Bob.
Okay, I'm talking about, like, other than people I've known for a long time, I don't meet very many people that
Are safe.
are safe.
That give off the aura of, or the scent of safeness or goodness.
Yeah, so you know what? You just kind of got to do your own thing, and I think that's really what it's about.
Then you turn into an old man, and then you're pretty soon you're in your house, and you're you're in the litter box trying to find your keys. I think that. Thank you, Bob.
That's what Adderall's for. But anyway, great show tonight. We have Taboo Topics. Now, you had some things that you want to talk about. Scott went on a trip, and it all fell apart. So he's going to be doing like I think you could replace Chevy Chase in that vacation type movie.
Oh yes.
So we'll call the new series of vacation movies something else. What? What's a vacation in Spanish? I can't think of it. But
I think it's mucho varga.
he wants to change the show to Mucho Verga.
Right in if you want us to change it. And we want to say
Mucho Verga.
one big wiener, one little wiener.com.
So anyway, great show tonight. Taboo Topics for the summer, and it has been a beautiful summer, but if you live around Chicago, it is nothing but construction everywhere around.
Yes.
And again, it's one of those situations, we'll just deal with it. All right, so you deal with it. And then you're an hour and a half late for work, and people are asking, well, what's going on? Okay.
And then you're an hour late for a show.
Then you're an hour late for the show. But we know why. Anyway, I'm Greg. This is The Greg Show, and we are reinventing community television here from the west side of Chicago. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back in just a moment. Voice of Kermit the Frog has been replaced after 27 years.
When you have your hand up a puppet's rear end, where are you going from there? Back to you, Greg.
And welcome back to the Greg Struss Show. We're here every Wednesday night here on Xfinity Comcast in the west side of Chicago, 65 suburbs on Channel 19. So welcome to all of you that are watching on TV and, of course, on YouTube. And if you Google us, google.com, and look up Greg Struss or Scotty-Joe Vegas or any number of things, you will find a plethora of Greg Show episodes throughout the years, through the decades, as they say.
How come we're not on Channel 17?
What's 17?
That's a Comcast channel.
I think they have like a local origination, but they sell sponsorships on that.
Well, how much will that cost?
We can't do that. We'll lose our time.
Oh, then screw that.
Yeah, see? So
Screw
that's
that,
the thing.
eh?
When I was talking about in the monologue about how nothing's for free. Nothing's for free. Now, there's people that try to come into a studio. Now, Comcast and cable companies like AT&T provide a studio for citizens that the area serves. So people are able to come in. Like if you're watching, you can come in if you live in a Comcast service area. You don't even have to be a Comcast or AT&T subscriber. You come in, you take classes, they teach you how to do a show. Now, they're not going to, it's not like a bachelor's degree in television production. It's about 8 weeks. And you have the bare minimum, and they give you a studio for 4 hours, and that's it. Now, you're not allowed to come in and produce stuff for commercial purposes.
No.
Why is that? Because you don't get it for free. You got to pay for it. Now, if you want to produce something for commercial television, then you got to pay to play.
Got to pay the man.
Yeah.
Pay the man, baby.
So I like all the people out here.
I love
and I was talking with Lee before the show. We occasionally bond before the
Mr.
show.
Lee.
And when Bobby Mudra came, he says, "That's like your main guy. He's like always here." And I said, "Yeah." I said, we need to get Scott here on time."
Wow.
So here's the.
Whoa. Shot, please. Whoa.
Anyway,
Okay.
Just a little aside. I want to talk a little bit at the top of the show on how I had this adrenaline rush from taking action, all right? This was a 5-day adrenaline rush. Now, as you know, I worked in a police department for about 5.5 years when you take a look at the time I did it the first time, and then I was fortunate. I needed a job when I moved back, and they hired me again. And I don't know, I think back on those days and those relationships that I had with people, and I personally like police. Okay?
I like police, too.
I mean, I like talking to cops, and I miss talking about shop.
Yeah.
All right, now, I never was a police officer, okay? But I did get to go out occasionally, and I got to ride, and it was fun.
You want eye contact, or do you just want
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
I am listening.
So I am working, and I tell this story about taking action because I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines and seeing things happen and feeling powerless. So I am leaving a home where I was doing some business, and I saw the canine officer in this town in Oak Park. I saw two guys that didn't look right, okay? I learned that. How? Because I rode with the guys and gals, and where I
I
used
did
to
it at
work.
Breeders' Cup where I found a guy that didn't belong
Yeah, so
there.
something doesn't look good. So all of a sudden I see an officer out of his unit
Yep.
starting to chase this guy.
Yep.
He's a big dude. So I get in my car, and I see him chasing him, and he's got a lead on him. So you know what happened?
And they're off.
I whip up the alley. The bad guy comes over the fence. He's like 26, big dude. And I took my car. I flew up. I had my top down and everything. I flew up. I did a tactical move, boxed him in, and then knocked him over with my car.
Oh, there you
It
go.
was great. So he gets up. Now the cop is sitting, the police officer is sitting in the backyard, and he's just like looking like, who is this guy? And
It's Batman.
yeah, it was Batman. So I come in. The bad guy comes over the fence. I do a tactical, what the police call
What the
tactical
police
move.
call.
Okay, I'm not a police officer,
Okay,
so it wasn't
I
a
had to pull-
tactical
I had to
move.
pull you back out of that
With the
cave.
right, thank you, because you're keeping it real, keeping it straight.
Two-sided, baby. There's heads and tails, baby.
So the guy gets up. I get my car in park,
Okay.
throw it in park, and I went after him, and I tackled him in the backyard. I took his arm, and I said, "What are you running from?" Now, and the counselor kicks in. I'm like, "What are you running from this guy for?" I said, "This is how people get hurt."
Yes.
I said, "This is crazy." So then the police officer comes.
And slaps the shit out of you.
No, and wants to put the cuffs on the guy, and the guy's resisting. I said, "Give him your arm." I said, "Let's get this over with." And he gave him his arm. I put his phone in his pocket, his keys in his pocket.
What a gentleman.
And I walked him with 4 other police officers, put him put him in the back of the patrol car.
I think there's some built-up rage there.
And the officer
Your dog, the bounty hunter.
I don't know what it was, but I felt like I am not going to sit and do nothing as this guy is getting away. All right? So I had this rush for like 4 or 5 days afterwards.
Is it better than a pill?
It was better than a pill.
Wow.
Yeah, better than anything. And that's what they say. They say a lot of police officers are adrenaline junkies because it's like this. But you know what? When you're working dispatch, you're on the same team. Yep. You're not out on the street, but you're not getting any of the glory, even though you get all the information.
You're getting the anxiety.
Yeah, you have the anxiety, you have the rush, because if you care about the people on the street, you're part of the same team.
And care about people who are on the street, though.
On the street.
The homeowner, the businessman that officer is going into.
But as a dispatcher, the officer comes first.
Yep.
Officer safety comes first, and I don't think that they teach that enough. You know, people that say, oh, I want to become a dispatcher. Great. Become the best dispatcher you can. And the way you become the best dispatcher you can is active listening, all right? And there is an us versus them, you know, it kind of becomes an us versus them fight because people want to be, you know, people want praise for that job. As a dispatcher, you're not going to get a lot of praise. I mean, you're there as a supporting role. So you're going to win your Emmy as a supporting role, not as the star. So I felt great about that. And the only reason I talk about it, and I don't suggest, you know, ever putting oneself in harm's way. And I thought I was going to get a lecture. And you know what? As I've told people before, when I've had the correct situation, I said, you know, perhaps where I was out of line, but nobody got hurt. I said, I'll do it again. I will do it again.
Okay.
All right.
I will say that I had the other experience of a man walking up to me. I was parked in front of his apartment building waiting for my child to come home.
You told this story last time.
Did I say it on the radio?
Yeah, you said it last time. Well, go ahead. So he gave you a hard time.
So I drive up to this thing, and this guy walks up on me. I didn't see him. Usually I'm pretty street sense. Street smart, and I usually look around. This guy walked right up on me and says, "Are you selling drugs?" And of course I give him the look like, Are you out of your mind? But that guy's got a screwball loose. So, can I talk about my cousin now?
No, I want to continue on this. I want to continue on this so we stay a little focused. All right. So what I realized in that moment was taking control of a situation that you really don't know what the outcome is. But you know what? I had no doubt in my mind that I was going to get this guy.
Could you imagine if that cop would have got killed, and how you would have felt by watching him get killed?
I still would have done what I did.
I know what I'm saying, but I mean, can you imagine if you just sat back and did nothing?
Exactly.
And that's a father. That's a son.
It's a father. It's a son. And as I was doing, you know, as I was in counseling and doing DUI counseling, I was always, you know, telling people, and even when I was working with police officers before I was a counselor, I would say, you know what, the bad guys are people too. They have families to support. They have mothers to support, sisters to support, fathers to support, ex-wives to support. They have all the problems that you and I have. And you should have seen how they looked at me like, you make a really good point. It's really about respect. Now, respect that you know, we all have a job to do. All right? It's not to respect the bad guy that he has a job to do, but he has a job that he's doing.
You're a townsman. You were supposed to help the sheriff.
Yeah, so
you got away with it this time.
Yeah, so the police officer...
You got to say, was he really big?
So the police officer, he or she has a job to do.
Yep.
And I think that just because you're arresting somebody doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful.
Nope.
So, but yeah, the adrenaline, I can see where somebody less mature can lose it, hothead, and get into it, and that's it. So anyway, my point is this. I don't see anything wrong with doing a civic duty and helping somebody.
Word.
Okay? And I don't talk about this because I'm bragging. I'm talking about this because it's about taking action and being accountable. So
what did you remember about the perp?
I remember he was tall. He was pretty well built. He was probably like 6 foot.
Okay, 6 foot. Fat?
180.
180, okay.
He looked like a football player.
All right.
Muscular.
Tattoo?
Fast. Tattoo.
Ruggedly handsome?
Ruggedly handsome. And but enough about me already. So
I knew that was coming.
But I felt really good about it, and that's why I'm sharing that with you. So anyway.
All right.
Do you want any more? Do you want any more stories from when I was a dispatcher? And how, like, how
much time we got, Bobby?
Oh, we got a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll continue. We're gonna have taboo topics, and
That's it.
that's it.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll be back in a moment. Thanks for joining us. And welcome back to the Struss Show. I'm Greg Struss, and we have Scotty-Joe Vegas with us. And you just got back. Now, you have like your own kind of John Candy thing going, don't you? But we'll get the abbreviated version. You were planning on going on a trip.
Chevy Chase.
Oh, Chevy Chase, that's right. Okay. But Planes, Trains, Automobiles.
Yes.
Chevy wasn't in that one.
Steve Martin.
And John Candy. Right. Okay, so what happened?
Me and Miffy got a flight to out west. We got aboard. We made it there on time. We got a few emails that says that the flight is delayed, and they left without us. And our bag went almost 4,500 miles round trip.
And did it return, or?
It returned after 2 days, and I dropped Miffy off at the airport, the bag, after having no clothes and no toiletries, and I got a U-turn ticket in the town of Rosemont.
And you know what? When you don't have local plates,
I haven't got it yet in the mail, but it's coming.
And a local license, they're not apt to give you a break.
Tinley Park gave me two $100 no turn, stop on red or turning on red, 2 tickets from the camera.
So do they go to the home office?
No, they come to me and.
Oh, it was in your car?
Yeah, no, it was in the van.
Oh, but Mom sends the
No, I
tickets
take care of it all.
Okay,
so long and short of it is didn't go out west, spend some time in Elmhurst, the old couple hotels there on Lake Street, and yes,
we found a new place that we like to go to now for a long time. I'm a creature of habit, and I probably start to irritate people after a while because when I like something, I'm loyal to it.
Say it isn't so. Is it true?
I'm loyal to it, right?
You're
loyal
you
to
are.
a T.
Misery loves company.
What do you mean by that?
It was just
like the old days of Damiani. You remember Paul Smith? Everyone, they'd be like,
misery.
as soon as we turn 21, they're like, who the goes to Damiani? You remember that?
The man was there for us.
Yeah, and he let us.
Oh,
yeah,
it's sorry. Okay. It's all right. I get a lot of stuff on me.
Switching gears here. So you got your stuff back, and all is well with that.
Lost everything. Lost 3 days of my life on 4th of July, and thank God Miffy was with me to keep me centered.
And you had a birthday.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I turned 49, and
was it difficult for you?
No,
not at all.
It's when they called me fat. They says, "Hey, happy birthday! By the way, you look really fat." So then I started getting on a diet. So
I don't know. Like this year when I turned 49, I was having a hard time with it because I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Next year I'm going to be 50, and when we turn a milestone like that, it's usually like every 5 years. But I remember when I was 40 and thinking like, what this decade would be, and I thought that you said it perfectly tonight as I was trying to talk with you. Did you hear that? The operative word, trying, and you said, just get rid of the expectations. This is
lower
what
your
happened.
expectations before you start.
And I think that's really smart. That was smart. It's like lower your expectations. So maybe when someone comes at me or comes at us a certain way, instead of like getting attitude, you say, you know what? Lower your expectations. I'm not perfect.
I'm not perfect. I'm human. I am just dirt. I am a used suit.
Okay.
Well, can I talk about a taboo topic?
Sure.
Back in 1979, there was a plane crash close to here, and I lost a cousin in Flight 191.
What year was that? In 79?
I believe that was 77 or 79.
It's 79 then. Okay.
And I want to say it was either June 11th or July 11th or July 19th. And there was a man last year that was in the copter that was on the radio, and he says, "This is a remembrance of the Flight 191 crew." And she was a beautiful girl, and she didn't tell her mom and dad that she was going to Hawaii. And my Uncle John lost his daughter, and I went to the funeral in Homewood, and it was just, I was too immature to understand really what was going on about the tragedy of losing a daughter and how horrible it all was. And I miss her, even though I never met her like in my life. I miss her brothers that I never met either, even though they were just one town away that we never got to get in together. But I miss you, and I think her name was Jenny, I believe. No. Rhonda.
And some people may not understand, well, how can Scott miss somebody you didn't meet? But as you get, as we grow older, you have a daughter, and you hear things about this other what was her name, Jenny?
Her name was Rhonda.
Rhonda,
I'm sorry for saying.
Can I call her Jenny in this?
Jenny was her grandmother.
Okay, so Rhonda, you hear things about her like all your life, and you think, wow, well, maybe my daughter has something in common, and it would have been nice to know her.
Because she was a beautiful blonde girl, and we just never got to get introduced to those people. And because my family's so screwed up where they don't talk to one another, and I'm not going to talk to her because her wife wore a yellow dress at my grandfather's funeral and had an umbrella with yellow high heel shoes. And okay, we got the math together. And but I will say this, that my Uncle John went through a lot in his life, and he may have done a little bit too much with the bottle, but him and my dad, they must have been really whipped as kids, because they're, how could you say that on TV? You see it. You see the pain they went through.
Well, and the other thing that I was talking
about. And it took them a lifetime to figure out, wait a minute, like us, we're kind of young, going, being counseling or being a counselor and figuring stuff out, but it takes a lifetime sometimes to be mature.
Yeah, right, and with each event that happens in life, it kind of, depending on where you're at, again, I think maturity has something to do with it. Mental health has something to do with it.
How many times have you been in a crisis situation with your family where you wish you acted more mature at the time, but you just couldn't do it?
I think many times, but what I kind of...
I'm not just pointing the bottle at you.
Right, the bottle.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that when a family can only function in crisis, that's the problem.
That's called the madhouse, madhouse with all the bouncing balls. That's what I lived in my life.
So I can't. I can no longer deal with that stuff. It's like when I go around, it's like shh.
Don't steal your peace.
Yeah,
peace I give you.
But
now
it's
go
also.
in peace.
But you know what?
The Reverend said go in peace.
Anyway, I enjoyed this tonight.
All right.
Scotty-Joe Vegas. You can always catch on YouTube. And I would love to see your old shows, This Is My Family. I wish we could do something with that and get those on YouTube, because that was some funny stuff.
If you show me how to do it once, I could probably do it.
Some funny things. Anyway, you can always get in touch with us here at the Greg Struss Show at G. Strussman. Shot, please. You always say,
shot, please.
Shot, please.
Get him a shot,
I'm
Bobby.
making a point.
Get him a shot. He's self-centered. There he is.
When we go for the pitch.
There's my Cheeto eater.
I had to steal your line.
There you go.
I was watching several shows back. He said, shot, please. Shot, please. Like, who says this stuff? They're probably like, what, are we hunting? Anyway, you can contact us at gstrussman@gmail.com. Any questions, concerns? Feedback's feedback, and we enjoy hearing from you. Anyway, Greg Struss, thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time. Goodbye, everybody.
So long, everybody.